Every soul is Gurudasa.
Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha, Guru Sakshat Param Brahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Today, we are looking into a special story dealing with two different sets of people in one generation, namely Gurudasa's ancestors and the king. The second set is a guru and a shishya. Then we are going to see another two sets of people who came in their lineage after 5 generations. This story is about the ancestors of Gurudasa. The ancestors of Sri Gurudasa were the friend, philosopher, and guide to the then ruling king. They were knowledgeable in many vidyas like Rajaniti, Rajatantram, Jyotisham, etc., which helped the king to do his administration in the path of Dharmam, Nyayam, and Satyam. The king always sought the advice of Gurudasa's ancestors. His administration was extremely good, and that made the people very happy. As it is said, Kale Varshatu Parjanyaha, Prithvi Satsya Shalini. There was Subhiksham everywhere, and that made the king feel that he had to do something for Gurudasa's ancestors. So he took lots of gifts in different forms and went to their family. But it was rejected outright by the ancestors of Gurudasa, saying that amassing wealth is not advisable. They also added, when we are advising you to rule the kingdom in the path of dharmam, nyayam, etc., we cannot accept the gifts. The king was upset that he could not show his gratitude and appreciation for the services rendered by the ancestors of Sri Gurudasa. He was wondering how to repay his indebtedness to these people. At that time, one yogi came to the palace. He read the mind of the king and his intense desire to do some good for the family who had been serving him in their supportive role for a long time. The yogi told the king, "You wish to give some manyam to that family, but they will not accept it. I will tell you a way by which this manyam will be used for Shashvata Mahat Karyam, which is a Dharma Karyam. For that, you need to do something. You find a place and you keep whatever you want to give them in the earth. I will put Nakabandhi and Nagabandhi to safeguard it to reach the specific person you desire." The king felt so happy hearing this that he added more than what he had taken to their house as gift. The yogi chose an auspicious spot, an auspicious day and time to store them in the Bhumi Garbham. After completing the task, the king came back to the palace along with the yogi. Even after doing everything as per the procedure, Yogi saw that the king's face showed some anxiety, concern, and longing. Yogi told the king, I can read your mind, but I want you to spell out what is bothering you. The king said, you have blessed me to have the bhagyam of doing service for a dharma karyam. But I am curious to know how this wealth will be put to use. The yogi told the king, in the same vamsham of that family, after 5 generations, a great person, a mahan, a sannyasi, a dasa, an adhyatmi, a rachnakar, a kavi, all rolled into one will be born. He will be composing lots of kirtanas. Hearing this, immediately the king said, I have the great desire to see that Mahan, even though it is impossible because it is going to happen after 5 generations. I am curious to see that person who will be composing kirtanas, who is going to be a margadarshak for many people, and for generations, people are going to follow his Siddhantam. I want to see his Divya Rupam. Yogi told the king that there is a Vidya with which the king's desire can be fulfilled. Yogi said, I will call one of my Sishyas, and you have to give me a place where there will be no disturbance or distraction. It has to be a kind of soundproof space, because Shishya and I are going to do a yoga kriya together, and so we need that space which is Shanti Bharitam. The king was thrilled that he might get to see who that person will be, and so he selected a space which would fulfill all the requirements of the yogi. The yogi sat in Padmasanam and went into Bhava Samadhi to do Yugantara Pravesham. He took his thought process to project 5 generations forward. He focused on the 5th generation from the king's time to Gurudasa's time. The Sishya had the exceptional skill to capture exactly what was in Yogi's mind in his inner eye. He also went into a meditative state and started drawing the sketch and embossed it on a frame. In the Hridayasthanam, the Sishya saw the murti of a person who was sitting on a Vyasapitham. He was wearing Panjakacham and Uttariyam. He had Tanpura on one hand and the Chiplakata or Chittige Tamburi on the other. He was wearing Gejje in his legs. He had all the Lakshanas of a Dasa. He had Nartana Krishna in front of him, and behind him was Devi Kamakshi, who was his backing force. Devi was holding a veena in her hand as Sharada Kamakshi. Even now, during Navaratri, one day in Kanchipuram, Kamakshi Devi will be decorated as Sharada with veena in her hand. The king, who viewed the picture, was in ecstasy, and he felt that he got his Janma Saphalyam. He experienced Paramanandam, Paramatrupti. That portrait remained with the king and his family for a long time. Now, we are moving the time forward and go into the Samakalinam of Sri Gurudasa. We will be talking about a guru and a Sishya who came in the same parampara after 5 generations and what they did for Loka Kshemartham. One day, the Guru felt that he had to do anugraham to a young boy in the neighboring village across the river. He took the sankalpam that the boy had to be taught to do a vratam for 16 Paurnamis, which included doing abhishekam for Shiva. He asked his Sishya to go to that village and initiate the boy to doing the vratam and abhishekam for a period of 1 year and 4 months. That boy was endowed with extraordinary powers, and the Guru could foresee that he will become a sannyasi and occupy the seat of a Matadipati. But as the child was facing problems because others were trying to misuse his powers, the Guru sent his Sishya to help the boy such that he could be saved from those bad elements and that he could finish his vratam and his services will benefit the whole society. The Sishya, as instructed by his Guru, went to that village and initiated the boy into the vratam, abhishekam, etc., and came back to the Guru's ashramam. While the Guru and Sishya were involved in various tasks, Guru got the prerana that he has to take Jiva Samadhi on the 16th Paurnami from that date. He informed his Sishya about this prerana and both started doing all the work that were pending before Guru would enter into Samadhi. One day, Guru informed his Sishya that they are having the bhagyam to complete another job before he entered into Jiva Samadhi. Sishya was curious to know what it was, and the yogi said, Sri Gurudasa will be visiting our village soon for UPANYASAM and Dharma Pracharam. The natural question arose in the Sishya's mind, who is Gurudasa? Yogi told him, we have a connection with him for several janmas. Our Guru Parampara and his ancestors have Janmantara connection. What we have to do right now is to draw a life-size portrait of Sri Gurudasa. I will go into Dhyanam and you have to go into Yoga Samadhi to capture his Bhava Chitram that comes to my mind and draw it on a canvas. Then we will present it to Sri Gurudasa when he comes to our village as gift. 5 generations before, our Guru Parampara drew the picture for the then ruling king using the same Yoga Kriya. They also drew the picture without seeing him in person, and we are going to do the same. But we are blessed to be able to see him in person and present his picture to him in the presence of an august audience. Sri Gurudasa will be unveiling his own portrait in their presence. The yogi went into Bhava Samadhi and the Sishya drew the picture of the Mahan Sri Gurudasa. When Sri Gurudasa visited their village, the portrait was presented to him with due respect, and Sri Gurudasa, who unveiled the portrait, was surprised to see himself in the canvas. The yogi informed Sri Gurudasa about the details of what happened 5 generations ago, how his gurus had used the Yoga Kriya to draw his Bhavachitram, which was lying with the king's lineage. Now they used the same Yoga Kriya to draw his picture again, and they had the bhagyam to present it in person. And Yogi also told Sri Gurudasa about his entering into Jiva Samadhi on the 16th Paurnami, and he invited Sri Gurudasa to be present on that day at that time. Then the yogi and Shishya made all the necessary preparations for the yogi enter into Jiva Samadhi. They did lot of dhanam of different kinds. 16th Paurnami was approaching, and 2 days before that, Yogi called the Shishya and asked him to go to the village where the boy was initiated to the Vratam and Shivalinga Abhishekam. Yogi told the Shishya, the same evil forces are acting to create obstacles to his finishing the Vratam. The Shishya was instructed to go and help the boy complete the Vratam successfully. When the Shishya showed some hesitation in going away from the Guru because he also will be going into Jiva Samadhi on the same day, Guru said, this is also important, and so the Shishya had to go to the neighboring village, crossing the river, to help the boy complete the Vratam successfully and come back. The special feature of the 16th Paurnami was that there was to be a lunar eclipse also. The Shishya crossed the river and went to the village to help the boy. The same river splits into two to go around the temple and join again. The land was slightly tilted. The water flow will be more on the side where the land is lower than that of the upper side of the land. The boy and the Shishya crossed the river where there was less water and entered the Shiva temple, which was in the Patala Guha. After they entered the temple, suddenly the river started flooding, what we call Kattar Vellam. Maybe due to the Paurnami or lunar eclipse, we don't know. The boy finished his Vratam and Puja and Abhishekam, but both of them got stuck inside due to flooding. In the ashramam, everyone had gathered because the yogi was to enter into Jiva Samadhi. The Muhurtam is very important because after that, the Grahana Chaya will come, which is inauspicious. Sri Gurudasa also came to pay his respects to the yogi. The yogi sensed the problem that was facing the Shishya and the boy in the Patala Shiva temple. He just conveyed that to Sri Gurudasa. Gurudasa immediately prayed to his Ishtadevata Sri Kamakshi and started singing Kshipravara Prasaadhini Kanchikavakshi Aprameya Sodari Moksha Purishwari Kshipravara Prasaadhini Kanchikamakshi Aprameya Sodari Moksha Purishwari Kshipravara Prasaadhini Kanchi Kamakshi. He asked all the people who had assembled there to join him in the singing. The ambience in that place was like this. It was Nadi Tiram, Paurnami. All the Mahans, yogis, and Sishyas had gathered, and the anxiety that the Shishya, the Prathama Shishya, has to come back in time. All these factors enhance the power and the vibration in the singing. The Sishya, who was in the Patala Shiva temple in the neighboring village, was able to visualize all that was happening in the ashramam. He heard Sri Gurudasa singing. He touched the Agnya Chakra of the boy with his thumb, and the boy's inner eye opened. And he was also able to see and hear whatever was happening in the ashramam. Both of them started fervently praying that they should be able to go to the ashramam because the Sishya needed to do specific things to help his guru enter into Jiva Samadhi. At that time, something strange happened. The land through which one has to go to the Shiva temple belonged to two brothers, and they were doing cultivation in their fields. The elder brother will not allow the river water to flow to the younger brother's field. He had built embankments such that the water will be stored only in his field. The elder brother, fearing that his crops might be destroyed with the flooding, immediately broke open the embankments, and the water gushed towards the younger brother's fields. There was a Devi temple, which was the Kuladevam for both brothers' families, on the side of the younger brother. The brothers ignored the temple, and no puja or aradhana was taking place in the temple for a long time. Now the water filled up the temple tank, and it also entered the temple. Inside the Shiva temple, the water level immediately went down. Both the Sishya and the boy literally ran out of the temple, crossed the river, and went to the ashramam. The Sishya had so many important things on hand. The muhurtam fixed up for his guru to enter into samadhi, the rituals that he had to do for him to be able to enter into samadhi, and that it has to happen before the lunar eclipse started, etc. The boy was anxious to get the blessings of that guru who visualized his problems and sent his Sishya to help him to finish the vratam successfully. He is also going to get into Jiva Samadhi. Even though the presence of his Sishya was very important to him, he took the risk of sending his Sishya to complete the boy's vratam. Also, when the inner eye opened for the boy, he could see Sri Gurudasa and the singing that was happening in the ashramam. The eagerness of both the boy and the Shishya to meet both the Mahans was indescribable. When both of them reached the ashramam, the boy had a surprise shock looking at Sri Gurudasa. It is the same Gurudasa who gave him Kartaviryajuna Mantropadesham in his younger years, by which his father, who was lost, came back and joined the family. He did Sashtanga Namaskaram to both the Mahans. He told Sri Gurudasa about the Upadesham he had given to him in his younger years. Again, the whole ashramam and the space was filled with the singing of Gurudasa with the song Kshipravara Prasaadhini in RΑGAM Revati. Kshipravara Prasaadhini Kanchikamakshi Aprameya Sodari Moksha Purishwari Kshipravara Prasadini Kanchikamakshi Aprameya Sodari Moksha Purishwari Kshipravara Prasadini Kanchikamakshi Aprameya Sodari Moksha Purishwari Kshipravara Prasadini. Suprasidha Kamakoti Pitavasini Amba Suprasidha Kamakoti Pitavasini Amba Suprasidha Kamakoti Pitavasini Amba Suprasidha Kamakoti Pitavasini Swaprakaša Tejomayi Raka Chandra Kantimati Swaprakaša Tejomayi Raka Chandra Kantimati Suprasidha Kamakoti Pitavasini Swaprakaša Tejomayi Raka Chandra Kantimati Kshipravara Prasadini Kanchikamakshi Aprameya Sodari Moksha Purishwari Kshipravara Prasadini. Kripa Kari Kshama Kari Shri Kari Shubha Kari Kripa Kari Kshama Kari Shri Kari Shubha Kari Apratima Gunavati Anupamananda Sagari Apratima Gunavati Anupamananda Sagari Kripa Kari Kshama Kari Shri Kari Shubha Kari Apratima Gunavati Anupamananda Sagari Aparamahimanvite Shri Chakravasini Pahi अपारमहिमान्विते श्रीचक्रवासिनि पाहि अपरिमितमोद सौभाग्यदायिनि परमात्म गुरुदास पालिनि पोषि अपरिमितमोद सौभाग्यदायिनि परमात गुरुदास पालिनि पोषि क्षिप्रवर प्रसादिनी कंचिकामाक्षी अप्रमेय सोदरी मोक्षपुरीश्वरी क्षिप्रवर प्रसादिनी कंचिकामाक्षी. When Sri Gurudasa started singing the song, everybody who had assembled there joined in the singing. There were Shishyas, there were Mahans, there were Yogis who had come there to witness this Mahan entering the Jiva Samadhi. And in that kind of charged atmosphere, the Mahan entered into his Adhittanam. Now, let me give you some explanation about the Vidya, the Yoga Kriya, which enabled the yogi and his Shishya to draw the picture of Sri Gurudasa. People who have or exhibit an ability to perceive events in the future or beyond normal sensory contact are called clairvoyant. With this ability, they help the public at large by locating lost objects or people. The Guru Parampara had retained and imparted the knowledge of this Yoga Kriya to the Shishyas. If the Guru wanted to read some manuscript in an old library, the Guru will go into meditation and make his astral body to reach the library, and the Shishya will be able to capture that material which is scanned or read by the Guru from wherever he was. It could be mantras or yoga sutras. It could be even a formula for preparing a medicine, the permutation combination which can be deciphered by the yoga kriya. And if documents relating to a will were lost, even retrieving them also was done by this yoga kriya. They also help in finding out the reasons for not being able to renovate temples, the legal litigation regarding the temple, finding lost or kidnapped successor for regency, and even pontiffs who were lost were found through this yoga kriya. This vidya was prevalent in India, and even now it is used in our Bharatavarsham. And the term clairvoyance is only a small part of that vidya. Now, let us look into the meanings of some of the words used in the song. Kshipravara Prasaadhini. In Lalita Sahasranamam, we get the Namavali Kshipraprasadini. She gives her anugraha to her upasakas very soon. She gets easily pleased. Then the next word is Aprameya Sodari. It means sister of Vishnu. In Malur, in Karnataka, the presiding deity is called Ramaprameya Swami. He is in standing posture holding Shankha, Chakra, Gada, and Padmam in his hands. And in the same Kshetram, there is a crawling Krishna called Navanita Krishna. It is said that Sri Purandaradasa, the Pitamaha of Carnatic music, had composed the famous song Jagatodharana in the Kshetram. The next word is Mokshapurishwari. It resolves into harmony the contradictions of life. It converges into the white ray of light, the myriad hues of the world. It is the seat of knowledge, both abstract and concrete. Then, Kamakoti Pitham. It's a symbol in union of work, love, and knowledge, enjoyed, assimilated, and gained as an enduring vision of life. It vindicates strenuous, selfless action in daily life. It seeks emancipation only through knowledge, which comes of impersonal experience and desireless action according to the rules of dharma. Desire is the fuel that feeds the fires of the body. Then, Swaprakasha Tejomayi. Her effulgence comes from within like the sun. At the same time, her Kanti is that of a full moon, which will have a cooling effect on the mind. Kripakari. She is Avyaja Karunamurti. She is ever compassionate. She is Kamakshi, and her eyes are like that of a fish which never winks. She is always ready to shower her blessings just with her Karuna Kataksham. Kshamakari. She is forgiving. Shrikari. The word Shri means Sampat, Lakshmi, Mangalam, Shobha, Gambhiryam, and beauty. Vishnu is called Shri Karaha. Devi and Sri Vishnu are the Stri and Purusha Rupam of that Parabrahman, and there is no Bhedam between the two. Therefore, Devi is called Shri Kari. And Shubhakari. She always does good for everyone. This Namavali comes immediately after Sukharadhya in Lalita Sahasranamam to indicate that she can be worshipped easily and she will do her anugraham for everyone. Sri Chakravasini. Sri Chakraraja Nilaya is the Namavali in Lalita Sahasranamam. Lalita Trishati says, Sri Chakram Shivayor Vapuhu. The way Shariram is the Vasasthalam of a Jivan, the Sri Chakram is the place of residence for both Shiva and Shakti, Navayonyatmakam. Let us all pray to that Devi Kamakshi who occupies the Kamakoti Pitham, who is the Ishwari of that Mokshapuri called Kanchipuram, who is Apratima Gunavati, Anupama Ananda Sagari, Apara Mahimanvite, Aparimitamoda Saubhagyadayini, to give us all that boon soon to achieve the goal of our lives. Thank you.